What's up, everyone? Today I'm camping alone without a tent by the Hudson River, cooking some delicious food on the campfire, fending off animals, and enjoying the wildlife and gorgeous scenery. Let's get into it. Well, this is the spot. And there is the Hudson River. It is amazing to be able to camp with this view just a few minutes away. Well, it's late and it's such a nice night out. I think I'm just gonna sleep without a tent again. Should be fine. There's not gonna be much to set up, but let's get this done and then I can start cooking dinner because I am hungry. That is officially the end of my setup. Say what you want about not having a tent, but it does make things simpler. All right, let's get this fire started. I saw a video recently in which somebody was using duct tape as a fire starter. So I'm gonna try that out and see how it works because that would be really useful to have as an alternate, just in case I need it. So you see those little fibers at the end there? Just wanna expose a few more of those. I'm gonna slice off some more strips and then put it down. Now a lot of the wood is wet, so I have to find the driest stuff, and as I've said before, you can tell by how it snaps whether it's good firewood or not. Or that's usually a good indicator that it's dry and not green or absorbing moisture that would make it bend and not snap. I like wrapping my fire starter around the actual sticks a little bit just to ensure that it's transferring heat effectively. All right, let's see if this works. I may need to expose some more edges, but let's give it a whirl. No! It's taking a little bit to catch, but I think that's okay. Alright, so my takeaway from that is duct tape is not as effective as a fire starter as I thought, or I did something wrong. My money's on the latter, but just in case. So what I'm going to try to do instead is make a little feather stick, which is basically you want to create little shavings, just like slowly curling your knife in. Would I say this is a particularly good feather stick? No. For my first one ever, I will take it. That just creates little exposed edges that the flame can catch on. I'm gonna have to improve my fire starting before it gets cold out, but in the meantime, I'm just gonna use a good old trusty pine fire starter. Look at that thing burn. It did rain pretty heavily a couple days ago, so I think this stuff may just be a little wet. One thing to note is that if you can, you want to get wood like this where there's a bit of an exposed edge here, and that will just make it a little bit easier to burn rather than exposing the bark to it, to the fire, I mean. Because the wood is wet, I am stacking it beside the fire, so hopefully some of these bigger pieces dry a little bit, and I can add them soon. Say what you will about campground camping, but it's really nice to have a water spigot. That sure as heck beats using a water filter. I'm now realizing that I forgot to take the sticker off the side of the pot, so whoopsie daisies. Another reason to have a lid when cooking on a campfire. Look at all that ash that's blown on top of that lid. Ta-da! We have a boil. For tonight's feast, we have Annie's, which is the brand my wife prefers, and it's their aged cheddar. I use my trusty spice kit to pack some milk. So I'm going to pour that in with the noodles. And then I have the cheese mixture to put on top. And then just stir to combine. And my secret weapon is some pepper and salt. black pepper makes all the difference. We got the mac and cheese ready, so I'm just gonna let that sit over there for a little bit while I cook the hot dogs. Well, managed to blow some, oh no. Ashy hot dogs ain't the worst thing in the world, but they ain't the best either. Yeah, it's fine. Reminds me of cooking with my friend Ryan and James back in the day. One time we were making hot dogs and one of his gloves had a hole in it for some reason. It was middle of winter. So he threw that on the fire and we just kept burning various items of clothing. Yeah, being like 12 years old and having the woods to play in is a blast. Let's try grilling these. But unlike last time, hopefully they don't catch on fire. Slightly more ash covered than ideal, but still cooked pretty well. And of course, need some mustard. Look at that little guy. He is very ready for my food. Go on, get. I think between you and me, I'm gonna win, but you are a big boy. Kind of makes me wish I had an actual tent up, but look at the size of that thing. That is a chubby raccoon. Eating good in the neighborhood. So I got my grapes for my snack, but of course, the main star is the mac and cheese and the hot dogs. Yeah, those boys turned out nice. And look at that mac. Oh, no! Look at that mac and cheese. Ain't she beautiful? Let's start off with the mac and cheese. Oh yeah. I was gonna make homemade, and I will at some point. Make the roux, all that. But coming out of box, this tastes delicious. The black pepper makes all the difference in the world. That is delicious. And now let's try one of them hot dogs too. Oh, I cooked those perfectly. Absolutely not. Jeez Louise, that bugger is greedy. Anyways, before I was so rudely interrupted by our critter friend, this I am very proud of. I cooked them perfectly. Well, I've never had raccoons be this aggressive before, so we'll see what happens to my whole no shelter plan. But in the meantime, I need to clean up the food extra carefully and hang the spare bag, or raccoon bag. The water alone is making campgrounds pretty nice. What a luxury indeed. All right, there we go. Okay. Not exactly how I envisioned tonight going in terms of sleeping without a shelter and there's a bunch of bold raccoons walking around, but I think they'll leave me alone. I'm sure they'll wander through the campsite, but as long as they don't touch me, I'll be okay. Anyways, I'm going to bed. I will talk to y'all in the morning. Morning. Oh, I slept terribly. I think it was primarily because I was worried about the raccoons or something else. So I kept overreacting to any sound I heard. And then also there was what sounded like a rainstorm coming through, but never quite penetrated the tree canopy. I was worried about having to get up and put up the tarp in the middle of the night, so that also kept me awake. Alright, let's get up and at least make some coffee before we head out. Wow. It's so peaceful. So I realized on the way over that I forgot my coffee filter, so I can't make coffee here. But how often do you get to see a full moon over the Hudson River? So I don't have time to make breakfast, but I think I'll have time to make coffee. So let's do that. Now to break down our campsite. There's always something moving over there. That's it. Let's get out of here. One positive about having to get up early for work, you get to see the sunrise over the park. Wow, $2. Oh wow, 4? Jeez. Just a little guy, 4 points. So there's 1, there's 2, and there are 3 and 4. Pretty cool. Look at the points on that thing. Look at that. Minus the noise of the cars and trucks on the highway, this is a beautiful setting. Dang, another beautiful buck. Sheesh. I'm almost at the end of the trail, so I'm gonna sign off here, but that was a great time. Lots of wildlife. I've never seen a group of bucks like that before, so that was really cool. Or at least not up close like that, not on the trail, maybe from the road. And the raccoon last night was so fat. I don't think I've ever seen one that large before. Yeah, good time outdoors. Even if you're using a public campground, it's a blast. I mean, how many times do you get to camp by the Hudson River and get to see it in the moonlight? So very cool time overall. Thanks for joining, and I'll catch you next time.